Welcome to God's Way, YTVY. I'm Adolphina, Shephard, and this is my co-host Thomas Knight, Templar.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Well, folks, as usual, we have a terrific show lined up for you today. We have one of our regular guests here, Maria Gilbert.
Hi, everyone.
And you know, we just love her. Maria is an author, and I find her books extremely exciting, by the way. Did you bring a book to show?
I didn't.
You forgot?
I
Oh,
didn't.
darn. And she's also a medium and a ghost hunter.
Yep.
So, also, what did you do at the National History of Museum there?
Well, the Academy of Natural History in Philadelphia. I was the manager of the Changing Exhibit Hall, and I was in charge of the birthday party program, and I was the mummy expert for that. Yeah, so when you work at a museum, you don't have one job, you have many. But with the Changing Exhibit Hall, every couple months we would get a new exhibit in, and I had to prepare my staff and volunteers to work with the public. So it was a lot of fun.
You have a new book coming out soon too, don't you?
Yes, the fourth book for the Roof Oasis series. It will tie up, close all the ends, open ends. It'll be the fourth book, but I'm going to leave a little opening in case I want to go back later for a fifth book.
Yeah.
Because the next book I'm working on will be about the two ghosts that live in my attic.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I want to tell you, I couldn't put her books down. I read them right in a row. Boop, 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 boop. So get them if you can. Now, our guest tonight is the first time guest on our show, and it's Dr. UFO.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Doc.
Yeah.
Oh, my. I've been studying UFOs ever since 1955, and I started monthly meetings at the library in Trenton area, Hamilton, in 1984. This is our 30th year of monthly meetings, 32 years now. And I've started conferences up, weekend conferences, and this coming year will be my 60th conference that I'll be putting on.
Are you a member of, what do they call it, MUFON?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I am.
All right.
And where are these conferences at?
They're in Bordentown, New Jersey, the Radisson or the Hilton in Robbinsville,
Just mainly people
outside of Trenton.
Mainly people who have had experiences, or just
Yes,
people?
mostly people that have had experiences, researchers that devoted their whole life to researching this subject, and abductions, people that are studying abductions, people that have had abductions to them and taken on board the ships, and all these people we've had on, scientists.
A lot of them have been implanted?
Some have been, yes.
Yeah. Have they, excuse me, have you ever had any of them had the implant removed?
I haven't, no.
Oh, okay.
In some cases, a lot of cases, it's in
I was
your
just trying-
middle of your
I'm just
brain or
trying
in
to
your brain.
gather what it could be.
Yeah.
Because they don't come out and say specifically it's a receiver, it's a transponder.
Right.
Because this is how they find them.
Yes, they find them, but some of them are partially living with a lot of organic material, and even move. They can move around in your body.
Wow.
But they are implants which the ETs put in your body so that they can follow the person around wherever they go, so
And
that they can abduct
too,
them.
right?
And communicate,
And communicate to them, yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know, I met Pat at an expo a couple of years in a row, and I was fascinated by him. And I said, you know, I got to have you on my show sometime. And we finally made the effort to get it together, and so here we are. But, you know, I'm fascinated by it because I personally saw UFOs. And
Wow.
so I've been studying this all my life, too, you know, and whenever it always fascinates me. You'll have to go to YouTube and look for that show that we did on the UFOs and the spaceships and stuff.
Oh, that'll be
Yeah,
exciting.
Yeah, you'll find it. But you're really the expert there because you have so much data gathered. I mean, this fella has a museum, you know what I mean? And
Yes.
he's the founder and museum curator of all his collections, and it's vast. It's not just these little pictures we're going to try to get through tonight. So sometime we're going to have him on again, because I know we're not going to get through this all at one
What
time.
piqued your curiosity in this? Was it Roswell?
No, as I was a child, I always loved astronomy, and I loved to come out and look at the stars. My father and I would come out and lay in the grass with my sister, and we would be watching the stars in the evening. And it grew up that way with my kids. We would go outside in the backyard and watch the stars go by and everything. And I was excited that if we found life on the moon or on Mars or anywhere out there, it'd be the most exciting thing in human history,
Yeah.
you know?
Other than
And
us.
right. So
You know, I still don't
That's
get
why I
why
loved it.
they don't release this information. You know what I mean? Why it's kept so hidden.
Well, the
It's
excuse
terrible.
is that they don't want to start a public panic. You know what I mean?
well, that's what they say.
I tell you.
But
if
I
you-
don't know about anyone that would be panicked by it.
I would just like to know, you know, for sure, one way or the other.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Do I believe that's true? Yes. I do believe that we have been visited and constantly have visited from before recorded, you know, the Roswell stuff and before everything became popular.
Right,
You know,
right.
before they started calling it a saucer.
Yeah.
You know, because look at the descriptions in ancient times, what they called it, flaming chariots.
That's right,
Do
fire
you really
circles.
think that Do you really think that 1,000,000 Egyptians were holding a rope, pulling something that we can't lift today with a crane?
Right,
All right. Do you
Right.
really think that, or did they have some kind of advanced knowledge?
that's right.
Have you ever been to Egypt?
No.
Well, I was in Egypt once, about 5-6 years ago, and actually on the columns, they have it engraved with an astronaut with like a helmet. They have a helicopter engraved. They have spaceships engraved
Wow.
going back to millennia.
Yeah.
And I mean,
There you go.
oh, here's one. Yeah, here's one. Now, what was this? This is 8,000 years ago, it says.
That's right, 8,000 BC. These
Uh-huh.
rock drawings were found, well, they were
If the
made,
camera can kind of zoom in on that, Pat will explain it.
they were made, and it's a rock drawing inside caves
Dre's got it.
of spacemen that that we saw. And they drew it because it was so exciting in their life to see something like that. And it was in the Tassili area, mountains of the Sahara. Very exciting.
I mean, they've
And it
been
looks like an
documenting-
astronaut today.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I was saying.
Yes.
Most of the drawings that they have depict them
Yes.
as astronauts, and you see
Right.
the hoses and.
Yeah, there is hose. That's right.
Listen, if they had it then, we are very archaic.
Can you imagine
compared to them.
8,000 BC? That's
BC.
10,000
Oh, yeah.
years ago.
Right.
And their tech is so far ahead of ours to have living implants. Imagine that. And I know they have spaceships and helicopters that are living entities that they control with their minds.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to kind of tie in this with some of those pictures we had scanned in. Can we pull up the first picture in the control room that I asked you to, so we can go into this one? I wanted you to see this in greater detail. And basically, they're religious pictures. There's
Oh, yeah.
one right there. Now, Pat, tell us
All right.
about that.
Okay, let me get to it.
Oh, here it is. Here, I
Right in
have
front
my
of you.
copy.
Yeah,
It's
there
right
you go.
Yeah.
This is a painting of the Madonna and Saint Giovanni in the Palazzo Vecchio in Florence, Italy. It's attributed to the 15th century school of the famous painter Filippo Lippi. So this
Filippo.
is in the, yes, Filippo.
Now, if you see in the upper right corner, it's not as good of a picture as we like, but that is a spaceship right there, if you can see, and that is supposed to be Mother Mary.
Yes, it's right.
And I assume baby Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
And there's another child
Saint
in
John-
there that
Saint
has
John
a
the Baptist.
halo.
Saint John
I
the
think
Baptist.
it might be obviously some type of saint or whatever.
Saint John,
Who's that
Saint John.
supposed to be?
I'm not sure.
Saint John the Baptist.
Oh,
Could be.
Yeah, Saint John the Baptist, he's saying.
Can't even get through to them.
Oh, yeah, they're telling him, Saint
Now-
John the Baptist.
Now let me show you. On the left side of the painting is a fiery circle in the sky, and it's letting out 3 other smaller fire circles, and they normally go out and explore the Earth from the mothership. And then on the other side is a UFO with a man and his dog looking up at it, and this is a blow up here.
Well, what fascinates me about the whole subject is that this is going back, and they're depicting that this was
Biblical
Mother
times.
Mary with the spaceships.
Yes.
You know, and then I think there were a couple more that were that we had scanned too. That was very interesting to me because of the religious nature along with the ETs.
Yeah, we didn't get to this fella yet.
No.
either.
Oh yeah. So whenever
You
you
wanna
want to
talk
bring
to
that
that?
up, sure.
Okay.
All right.
This was the Australian Aborigines called this man. Well, they were the gods. The Wojina is who they called them, and they were the gods that came down and gave the Aborigines in Australia the tools to begin working, farming, and learning about laws, and coming out of the caves and starting to become a civilized little town, helping everybody out and farming and get civilization going. So this is a rock painting that was found there, and it's 10,000 BC. It's 12,000 years ago. And it's their gods that came down and taught the Aborigines to become civilized.
Do you have any idea what language that is up in
No.
there?
Let
No,
me see that.
See up there?
it's a helmet though. Looks like a space helmet.
Well, they look like hieroglyphics if you were going to say, you know. what they
Yeah,
are.
it does look like
Looks
hieroglyphics.
yeah, like stuff you would see in
Yeah.
Yes.
the
Okay.
pyramid.
All right.
So I'd like to show everybody the one that you have, the picture in the control room. You have one with Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah.
If you can
This
pull
one?
that one up. No, this wasn't the one that they put in the back, but we can talk about this while they pull it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Now, what one? I didn't even look at this one here.
This is Christ's crucifixion, and it was painted in the 14th century. And it's right now sitting in the monastery at Kosovo, Yugoslavia. And you'll notice on the left side is a spaceship with a man, and on the right side is a spaceship with the man. And this is the one on the left side. And you can see the man is looking back at this man who is on the other side of the painting in his spaceship. Isn't that amazing?
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
very,
Wow.
very interesting.
And this is at the crucifixion was painted.
So somebody's getting clear sight on these UFOs going back to
The
them.
the artists must get visions of you
think
know
so.
of what to paint, and
You
they
gotta remember
try
one
and
thing.
depict
Back
what.
in them days, the way that they would describe things is not the way it would be described today. Today would be far more sophisticated. We would describe it with words, and everybody would know what we meant.
Yes.
They can only depict it as Jesus depicts things in parables. So they're doing it in wall paintings. They're not exact, they're not precise, they're not Michelangelo who painted it or a draftsman. It is their depiction of what they saw, and the only way they could describe it was the words and the terms of the time.
Right.
You know, like flaming chariots and things.
Yes.
So that's the,
Well, you know, the thing is, though, this is such a unique shape. I would venture to say somebody had to see that.
They had to see
Yeah.
it.
They had to
Yeah.
see this. I mean, you wouldn't envision this. You know what I mean? I would never think a spaceship would look like that. They had to see it in order to paint that, you know?
Well, could the painter have been someone that was abducted? Because we're thinking just abductions
possible.
now.
Yeah, it's
But go
possible.
back then,
Sure.
if they were doing it back then, could he have been painting what he saw?
That's a good
they
thought.
said it a couple of times in the Bible that Moses went up and this one
Right.
went up and they never found him again. So they were ascended to God, it was assumed, but they could just ascended into a ship and went to another galaxy. What else you got in there, Doc?
Oh, this is a rock drawing, and it's a rock painting in the Tassili Mountains again, which is in the Algerian Sahara. According to von Däniken, the main figure is called Mars, a Martian, and he visited that area thousands and thousands of years ago. But you can see he's got his helmet on his head and some strange muscles in his arms.
Oh, yeah.
See that? Mm-hmm. And he's about 11 feet tall.
All right.
Huh. I wonder what those strange muscles really are.
Not,
Unless, you
don't know.
I would really like to know that.
Maybe something to impale you if you come by. You know?
I don't know.
No.
11 feet tall. I thought Martians were little green guys.
I think, you know what? I don't know if there are little green ones. Yeah, I bet there's little frog green ones.
Well,
There's-
probably the grays were mistaken for green.
No, there's two different types.
There you go.
Okay.
Is that your
Yeah.
favorite?
Hidden away.
Yeah.
I can't see that.
Oh, yeah, I know. I asked them to pull it up on the screen.
Oh.
Describe this one so that people will know what we're looking at here.
Oh, okay. This one is a painting which was in
Can-
1486. And it was painted by Carlo Crivelli. And it's hanging right now in the National Gallery in London, England.
It's got
And
a
it's
lot of
depicting,
detail.
it's called the Annunciation. And it shows a spaceship up in the sky shooting down a yellow beam, a golden beam, to Mary. And the angels are coming to ask her to become the Mother of God. And this is a blow-up of the spaceship of the Annunciation.
Let me take a look.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
If anybody is out there that knows and has seen the Gulf Breeze UFO, this is very similar with the tiers
Yeah.
of the ship and the different sections of it.
That's a hot spot over there.
Yes,
yeah.
Gulf Breeze.
There, and I think one of the Great Lakes has a lot of activity with SROs.
Lake Michigan, I believe.
SU, whatever they are.
You know, this is very similar to the UFO I saw, except
Really?
Yeah, except the ones that I saw. See this here?
Yes.
Those little lights. They were actually. It was a gray ship, gray silver, and it had lights going around in two tiers, and they were flashing lights. I had the idea they were taking pictures,
Wow.
but they lit up the whole
taking
night
pictures?
sky.
Wow.
Yeah, it seemed like
What,
they
what
were
do you use, a
taking
flash
pictures.
bulb?
Well, you are
Or
beautiful.
something. Well, no, not just to me. I mean, there were hundreds of people there. I'm surprised it wasn't all over the news, but then they would have covered that up, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But,
They cover everything up.
Yeah,
Doggone it.
you know, but it was
Yeah, I
very
wonder why.
similar.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
The only place they don't cover this stuff up is like in Mexico. It's on the news every day.
Yeah, the
you know?
Mexicans,
Oh,
yes.
It's, you know,
That's right.
It's on the news every day. We're the only ones that don't acknowledge it, and neither does Russia.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder.
Yep.
Now, this one is a wood carving, actually, and it's taken in, it was made in Nuremberg, Germany. And it's a medieval drawing recording an aerial war or a fight over Nuremberg on April the 14th, 1561. It was such a tremendous effect on the people that they had to make a wood carving of it so that it would be remembered for all eternity. But you can see the motherships letting out the smaller white balls here, yellow balls here, and here. And there's other black balls and gray flying, so it's spaceships shooting at each other. And down here, they're even,
Ground effect.
yeah, they're on the ground and they're on fire, and you can see that they've had a war.
And this was depicted by a German artist?
This, the whole city saw it and was awakened by it and everything, yes.
Now, these are cigar-shaped. Okay, people might not know that there are
Yeah, cigar
cigar-shaped
Yes,
ships.
ships.
Yeah, motherships.
And then the smaller ones, the little orbs that they kind of look like orbs, they're actually smaller ships.
Small.
Yes.
And what do you think this is? Is that a mothership?
Yeah.
I would think it is, yes.
They come in so many shapes, you know. We always just picture it as a round ship.
Saucer.
Right, right.
Every time you see them on TV, on those shows, they're always showing a triangular, silent. you
Now,
know.
this is the last of the medieval paintings that we have. This is called the Baptism of Christ. It was painted in 1710 by the artist, famous artist Art D. Gilder, and it shows the baptism of Jesus, but it also shows a spaceship up here, an egg-shaped object with a dove right under it, and 4 beams of light shining down onto the baptism of Jesus with John the Baptist. Isn't that beautiful?
It is really beautiful. I really wonder, maybe perhaps this person was actually in attendance, you know?
Yeah, you wonder, maybe in a previous life. And he had that idea to paint this.
And he had a premonition to do it.
How about that?
I see you wanting to get a better look at that.
Yeah,
thank
stretching
you.
my neck here.
Yeah. Isn't that beautiful?
She never shares.
What's interesting is that the church didn't stop them from showing their paintings. Like you would think that
Yes, that's
when
true.
they drew these paintings, that someone in charge of the church didn't come and say, no, erase that.
yeah. Yeah.
That's not going with this picture. But they didn't stop them.
No.
So makes you think.
I'm getting
Yeah.
he was ascended. He was ascended over John the Baptist at this point, once he was baptized.
Well, you know, Marie, you were talking about that. That's why I find the religious pictures with the spaceships in here fascinating.
Yes.
Because they have been abducted and hidden by the Vatican, by the governments, all for what reason, I have no clue. You know.
Because a lot of this stuff would blow
Control.
certain things and certain
Control.
controls out of
It's
the
all
water.
about
Right.
control.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
if more and more people question that, and they become
Free
under siege
thinkers.
by it, you know, and people become free thinkers the way they were meant to be, okay, then things will change. And when the money trail dries up, they get unhappy.
They get unhappy. All right, the
So what do you
next
got next?
section is UFO reality. Who believes in UFOs? Who admits to believing in UFOs?
That's a good one, yeah. Some
Right,
people are
right.
ashamed to admit that they
Yeah, they
believe
don't
in
want to
UFOs.
admit it. Geez, they'll
Who
think I'm
believes?
weird or something.
Yeah, I know, but
But
you know,
we believe
we
in it.
believe. We believe.
I believe it was flying around in my backyard.
That's right, you saw him.
That's it.
He did.
That was right next to the black helicopters that kept on flying over. I wonder what they
So
were
now
there
you
for.
know they were
Yeah.
real. Those
Yes.
black helicopters don't fly around for nothing.
Yeah, but the government will tell you they don't exist. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't exist.
They don't exist.
Yeah, I had a couple of them show up at my house once or twice.
Lunch?
Once or twice.
Okay.
Or
Oh, my
more.
What is it for lunch?
Wow.
All right, what you got in there?
Okay, this is UFO reality. We have actual NASA UFO photographs that we can show you. And we've got permission from the astronauts to bring this out to the people. This actually was in Life magazine, and it shows, astronaut Scott Carpenter took the photograph while aboard the Aurora 7 spacecraft.
Interesting.
May 24th, 1962. He was about 100 miles above Earth, and he took that photograph, and it shows a spaceship with a smaller ship coming out. Now, whether that was a reconnaissance ship or a smaller two-man or not, or what, we don't know. But that's what it.
Well, they had the Apollo
That's
guys.
the photograph.
You had the Apollo guys that were showing moon bases.
Yeah.
On the dark side of the moon that they would never let you see.
Right. You
Yeah,
heard
so-
about that.
Oh, I heard about
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Wow.
Now, what I'm wondering is why is that glowing like it's so glowing like
Oh,
gold
it's illuminated. Yes.
from
it's,
the sun?
No, it's has its own power system, and the entire ship glows.
Huh.
It's illuminated. It's yeah, illuminated.
Probably some
Interesting.
type of anti-gravity plasma propulsion.
Could be. Here's another picture that he took the same day. Our astronaut Scott Carpenter. It's looks like a snowman. Snowman UFO is called.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful? Above Earth.
Yeah, that's different. I could see it was blown up so far. It makes it a little bit blurry, but yeah, that's, would you say that's cigar shaped or what?
It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looks
yeah,
it,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a little cigar shaped, yes.
Did you ever find out, like when he reported this or showed the photos to his commanders, like what did they say to him? How was it greeted?
They didn't want that
didn't want
information out
No.
to the people. Right.
But then eventually, how long ago were these released, do you know?
The Freedom of Information Act.
Released, let me see. I guess it was about 1970s they released it.
So I think it's 25 years after they have to release the public files or something to this effect, right?
It's a statute of limitation on the
Yeah.
picture.
Could-
It's like
yeah.
the Kennedy files, you know, when he was assassinated. It was like for like 100 years or 80 years, whatever it is. You know, and then the truth will come out. You know,
The truth will come out.
their version of the truth.
Now here's a UFO over New York. I'm sure you're excited about that,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Since we're in New York.
Since we're in New York. Let's see, I'm going ahead of myself.
So I'm finding this all very
I
interesting,
know.
aren't you? He's got a great collection
He
here.
does.
1964.
It's that black thing?
Yes, yes.
It
was.
looks like it has something white that goes around it
It's a-
like this, and then in the center it's black.
That's right. It's protective.
Shield.
What do you call that? A shield around
Okay.
it. Yes. And this UFO was seen. It's an unknown photographer which caught this picture. It's a space object as it hovered over the World's Fairgrounds in Flushing Meadows, Queens,
I've been
in New
there.
York,
I
in
was
May
there.
1964. And for our New Jersey audience, we want to put this one up because this one was taken over Newark, Newark, New Jersey.
Oh, look at that.
1964.
Yeah,
That was so long ago.
there's about 30 people that watched this go across the sky in Newark
Huh.
with a strange halo effect protecting it.
And they probably were never heard of again. You know,
They
Probably.
were told to be quiet, right?
what?
They were told to be
Oh,
quiet
you know
about
it.
it. Yeah.
Oh, when they did that Roswell thing, and General Ramey, it went from being, it's definitely a flying saucer to it's balsa wood and aluminum foil. Yeah, all right.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
So now what else do you got there?
That's my line.
Okay.
Well, Maria, in your books, when you do your books, you do sci-fi books.
I do sci-fi books,
But
and I have
you
the
channel
aliens.
that information too, though, don't you?
Yeah, from my dreams. From when I was little, I had dreams.
Now, I
and
know your father comes to you. What does he say about all of this?
They're out there.
Well,
Well, there's a lot more out there that the dead tell you that I don't think we would be as afraid if we knew how powerful we are. And that's what they keep telling me,
yeah.
that we're made to feel weak, but we're not.
We
and they're afraid of us knowing our power.
We're taught to be weak. All right.
Yeah, they don't
The
want to
indoctrination
come
of the
inside and
educational system.
They don't
in
want
this
us to
country.
think or meditate or
Right.
begin to realize all the powers that we have.
That's right.
We have many, many powers, probably as much as Jesus Christ did.
Right.
And this is what Jesus said.
Remember what he said.
It's in the Bible.
You will do far greater things than I.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's right.
That's right.
And
I
so we
think-
have.
I
So-
think everybody has these gifts, and then it's a matter of perfecting them, growing them,
It's a
honing
matter
them,
of
and
recognizing
enlarging
that you
them.
do, and recognizing it, number one.
Right.
Number two, you need to realize that the only way you're going to have a personal relationship with God is you and him.
That's right.
And it's not going to be you and the choir and the
And the
this
priest.
and who collects the things and who
Right.
thinks they're more important than the next one. You know, please. All right?
That's another
We are all
thing
the
that they
same
tell
and we
me.
are on the same equal plane. All right? You people out there in the audience are just as psychic as any one of us. All
If
right?
you hone it, if you learn it, if you grow
right.
that muscle.
If you learn to
Yes.
toss out with the baby with the bathwater, so to speak, and give up all this nonsense that you've been rehashed. I mean, you go to church, it's church calisthenics, sit, kneel, hop, hit. Well, I can do that with my dog. You know, really, you gotta really start to think for yourself.
Wow.
Yeah, it is kind of drone into you from the time,
Yeah,
you're a child.
you're
you know, that-
indoctrinated.
yeah, you're indoctrinated, and the priest is like the God. You don't really get to God; you just get to the priest.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
But
the
the elevator
challenge.
keeps on going to the first floor. That's it.
That's it.
You know.
Right.
I think we're going to eventually learn more and more of this, little by little. I don't think they're going to put everything out there at one time, but we do need to start learning about this stuff so that people aren't in such shock.
Right. Right.
I think people are more willing to accept it today, now, than I think maybe even 10 years ago. There's just so many different things happening at one time.
Well,
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And the veil is lifting,
Right.
and we need to continue pulling that back so we can see, because
Right.
it's all been hidden, but it's
Yeah.
all coming out, So we need to continue pulling back that veil.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So what else are the dead telling you?
Well, you want to know, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, let's tell
Okay.
us what your dad and your dad
my
telling
dad
you.
and with the other dead, that they come, because my father brings them when I'm sleeping.
You know, they're not really dead.
Your father's a spirit.
They're not dead.
My father's dead, but
Ne-
he
Yeah,
brings
he's a
us.
You
spirit.
never
Yeah.
die. You hear
You
it
don't
from
die.
me. You change form.
Forms,
you
you
go
can-
back to your original form.
Your soul.
Don't go for this stuff they tell you. If you
No.
don't do this, you're going to go
Energy
here.
cannot be destroyed.
No.
It can
Right.
only transform.
It transforms. So there is life on other planets. It
Oh,
may
I'm
not,
glad you said that.
Well, that's what they
yeah.
tell me. And he says, but a lot of it, you will not recognize it, because if you look at extreme life here on Earth and how different creatures are surviving, like in Antarctica or under the sea, well, you'll find that also on other planets. So they may not all look humanoid,
Well, that's right.
but they're intelligent. So
The way
open your mind
it
up
was
to that.
explained to me
Well,
is that
there's-
they are on different
Right.
frequencies, different levels, and like you can go to say Venus, where we would all die, we would perish because we can't breathe that, and we can't take the heat and everything else like that. But these beings
Can-
are on a different frequency altogether, so they can actually live on that, hostile to us, but that's normal to them.
They evolved to live there.
That's it.
Right.
It's a different frequency and dimension.
Well, I do know that I dream also, and a lot of them are prophetic, but some of them are just showing me things that are happening. And one night I remember I saw in the dream, I saw a giant ant, like a bug,
Right.
but it's a being, and it was huge, and it was intelligent, and it was at a conference table with humanoids and other creatures. I saw.
You dreamt this?
I was astro traveling, actually. I think.
Wow.
There was a big
You can do that.
type grasshopper. There was something that looked like an elephant, with a short snout. And there were humanoid beings and some of the other type beings that you would see on Star Trek. And I found it
You sure you
totally
weren't watching Star
fascinating.
Trek?
I'm telling you, I was in Star Trek wherever I
okay.
was.
All
That's where I was. And then I watched all this, and there were humanoids there too. And there were, a few humans from even beings we know here on this planet that were at that conference table. So that was all very interesting.
Wow.
You also have to remember they could be pure energy. If you're talking beings from another planet, don't always expect them to come in a form that we know. That could be,
Shapeshifters.
they could be just energy. All right, so that
And I saw that just the other night, as a matter of fact.
A shapeshift.
No, I saw a being come into the bedroom. And
You said that, yeah.
Yeah, and I had just woken up, and it was interesting because I never seen this before. He almost looked like he was a skeleton, but he had light around it and black, and he wasn't light enough to be a light being, so I told him, "You're not welcome here," and he was gone.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting waking up to that. And so
Wow.
I saw that being for the first time. And so
Wow.
you never know what you're going to see, you know, at various
So you
times.
zapped them out of there, huh?
Yep.
So you went next door and robbed the neighbors?
See, the thing is this, your silence indicates permission. You have to voice that is not acceptable. You are
Yes.
not allowed here. You're out of your jurisdiction. Get out.
This is a power that you all have,
Yes.
that you are not allowed to have your space violated by any
right.
entity or any alien entity. They are not allowed to do that. They don't have your permission to do that.
Even with
All right.
spirits, they're not allowed
I'm
to
just
do
seeing
it.
the ruby slippers again. They're telling me you always had the power. Click
Yeah,
your heels,
yeah.
and they can't do nothing.
They tell them I have the ruby slippers. Just click my heels. All the
Because
time.
we do ghost investigation, and we have to put a protective bubble around ourselves so that they know they're only allowed to come up to a certain
They got a
point.
certain boundary,
They
that's
can't
it.
invade your space.
Right. Well, we have that I've found out in my research. There's people that have been abducted by ant people.
Ant people.
Yes.
See, I saw ant people.
Yeah, you did. And praying mantis people.
Praying mantis people.
And
That's what I meant to say when I said grasshopper, praying mantis.
okay, okay, there are
Grasshopper,
those
huh?
type of
They're
people.
two different things.
I know, but I was just
One
struggling
eats
to
the other
remember.
one.
No,
Listen, any bug that kills its mate after it mates with it, I don't like it.
praying mantis.
I
It was a
know.
praying
I
mantis.
don't like that
I just
either.
couldn't get that
Gives
word
all you
up.
women bad ideas. Yeah. All right, I'm sorry.
Don't
I'm
worry,
stopping.
Tommy.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to eat you.
Okay.
But there are bugs out there that do eat their mates.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So tell us more. Wait a minute. Who was it? We lost the thread of conversation
ant
somewhere.
people he was talking
yeah,
about.
the ant
Oh, yeah,
people.
yeah.
Ant people?
Yep.
Right, right.
Okay.
Well,
They
well-
were abducted by ant people?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
boy. I don't know if
Matter of
they're
fact, the
good.
whole family was. Him and his brother were abducted by these 7-foot tall ant people. They looked just like ants, but they were highly intelligent and were able to abduct them out of their bedroom and took them on board the ship. And that they told us their whole story, the whole incident.
Were
Now, what
were
did they want with them?
benevolent
with them?
or malevolent?
They were benevolent,
Okay.
yeah, yep. But yeah, then they put them
You
back.
hear about the
and,
reptilians and all these different ones.
And
you
then it
know.
continued, you know, that when people are abducted, it continues in their family, and their mom was probably abducted also, and their grandmom too, and it's normally the abduction stays in the family, and they keep coming back for the younger children also, and they abduct the children. And
It's like they're doing a case study on
Yes.
the family.
Yeah,
members.
yeah. It's,
Yes.
I saw that.
Yes.
It was a sister team
yeah,
that they actually was out their home was in a rural area, and they went out on their porch, and both of them, they had that time frame where you lost it,
Right.
and it was like 3
Missing
hours missing.
time.
Yeah.
Missing time.
And,
missing 2 hours.
They know when they're coming to get them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Their
it's-
signal,
Yeah,
I guess.
they have their implant
Yeah,
in there,
they
and
know they're coming to get 'em,
It
you know,
starts
and-
to hum or become alive. Yeah.
whatever it might be, you know.
So they're not random abductions, you don't think? You
Well,
think-
sometimes they are.
but
There's
on the
times.
whole-
Sometimes they'll come over a block and hover over a block, and they'll abduct the person. They normally do, but they'll also go to the neighbors and abduct
Okay.
them also, and that's their first time. And
But what do
they
you think
start
it is with these, you know, you always see this stuff on TV about mutilations.
Cattle
Constant-
cattle mutilations.
Cattle, this, that, I mean, it's all different things, and, I mean, why do that? You know, when the animal is totally zapped of its blood,
Right.
and it's surgically cauterized in precision cuts, removing the snout, removing the tongue, removing the sexual organs, removing the perfectly cut. I mean,
Right.
what is that?
Why?
I mean, don't they know that the rest of the beef is good?
I've been told that most of the cattle mutilations are the government, our own government.
That's
is
what I
doing
was
it.
hearing too.
And they're testing the tongue. You see the tongue cut out, and the gums and the cheek, and they're trying to see if the radiation from the power plants have entered into the grass and then into the cow. And this is why they're
makes sense.
abducting these cows.
You know, that makes
Since
sense,
the
but see, they
government thing.
leave it there
And
to
then they drop
frighten
it back
people.
down on the ground.
To
Yeah.
scare the
Look how many
people.
cows they killed with
Yeah.
that mad cow disease. How many cows did they put down?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
it's-
lot.
So this is like, in comparison, nothing.
Right.
But the bad thing is they dump it there and it scares people and they let us think it's aliens doing it
Yeah.
when it's probably our own government, and they're doing it for good purpose to check the radiation. Why don't they just say so?
Because
Because
they killed the
don't want you
cow.
to-
Yeah, they killed
They
the
don't
cow.
Killed the cow.
They
We
don't
don't have
want you
to
to
see-
know what we're picking up from
They
that
don't have to
radio.
pay
Oh,
in.
right,
Well,
right,
they
right,
don't, yeah, that's
right.
exactly it. They don't
Yeah.
want to know what it's doing to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, because I don't really drink milk anyway. So.
I have a photograph
mistake,
of a UFO over New York, Island Park, New York. This was a brilliant UFO illumination. It hovered over the home of the people and roused the sleeping couple one night in August 1965. They looked out the window into the cloudless sky, where they later reported they saw 4 lights appearing one by one. And the lights remained visible for 2 hours. And they real quick grabbed their camera and captured them on film. And there you have it, right over Island Park.
Now look
New
at
York.
this. If you look at this, I don't know if that was when they were coming down, but there seems to be more hidden in here.
It does, yeah.
But they're not as easily seen as the 4 right there, but there's definitely things being hidden back there.
How about that? Yes.
Can you see it too?
I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be tough for the viewers to see, but
I'm having a tough time too. There's a big blonde
I can
head in the
see.
way.
yeah, there's a big blonde head in the way. Do you want to see it closer here? Wait, let me get it to you to show you. A big blonde head in the way. See how
I
all
see it.
these things are here?
Yeah, I see it.
Are there certain times of the year that they're spotted more?
Not really. No.
You know, if I was looking at the silhouette of this ship,
Mm-hmm.
it's very reminiscent of a side view of a jet aircraft, a military jet aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see here, you see the tail, you see the fuselage, you see where the pilot sits in the cockpit. It does resemble that.
Well, this was at night, and the whole ship, the whole plane is, or ship.
I mean, it wouldn't
is
stand still,
illuminated.
so we know it's not one of ours.
It's illuminated.
Yeah.
Because if our ships were standing still, they'd be in the water.
Yeah, this is another one of those illuminated ones that I asked you about earlier.
Yes. It's self-illuminated.
And the white ones too. I mean, obviously they're not quite the same. They actually look kind of like helicopters, only they're white.
You had a thing with helicopters tonight?
No, that's what I say.
Okay, this
Helicopters
is
make
the.
noise. I used to fly in them.
Were you in New York at the time of the big blackout? The
Yeah, I was here.
great blackout of Northeast?
I was here.
I was too.
When was that?
But what happened was, when was it? This
Uh-huh.
was November 9th, 1965.
Okay.
The great Northeastern blackout.
And there was a
Oh.
lot of babies born the following year.
Yeah. Nothing else to do.
TV sucked in the 60s. You know? What would you have? 5 channels? I mean, really?
No cable.
That's
And-
right.
Just after power failed in Syracuse, Deputy Aviation Commissioner Robert Walsh sighted a round, fiery UFO ascending at moderate speed from a fairly low altitude. And then a second fireball is also reported. The objects were over the Clay Power Substation, an automatic control unit which regulated power from Niagara Falls to New York City. And witnesses in the Time and Life building saw a UFO in the sky above the blacked out Manhattan sky. Time magazine photographed the object.
So they're trying to attribute the zapping of our power to the blackout from a ship?
Yeah, what happened was there was 2 pilots in 2 different planes. They actually saw it sitting over the electrical power lines, and it had like a long wire going down to the wires, and it was sucking electricity
taking
up
energy
into
for
the
the
ship.
ships, yeah.
Yes.
Huh.
And
They
then
probably convert that into some type of propulsion.
yeah, and there was people on the ground in cars that actually saw this ship also, the UFO, and the UFO sucked out the electricity off the lines, shutting down the circuit breakers, and then once those circuit breakers went down in the Clay station, they started going down all along the line into New York City and all the way up to Niagara Falls. And it blacked out the entire Northeast, including Canada.
You know, you'd think there'd be more blackouts if there were ships with that kind of capacity, you know?
Yes.
So maybe that was from a different space, functions differently than most ships do.
Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they need the energy because the propulsion system is supposed to be an opposing force, like you put in opposite ends of a magnet together, repels, and they use that to repel. You know.
Oh, look at that one.
Now, what's this here?
Okay, this is in December the 4th, 1965, Gemini 7 astronauts Frank Borman and James Lovell took these photographs as they were coming back towards the Earth.
I saw these.
And these 2 big, beautiful ships were 2 UFOs coming, sitting in the sky over Earth and moving slowly. Enlarged, brilliant ovals emphasized the glowing area, which on the color film was blue in color. They were taken over Pennsylvania in 1965.
Now, is that here, the lower of that picture?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm going to put this one up so people can see it a little bit better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, these 2 glowing objects. Now, they actually look kind of like the balloons. You know,
Well, this
the
is
balloons?
way up in space.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But they kind of have that shape.
There would be no balloons in space.
Right.
And they actually changed shape. They were actually moving, because you see the first one doesn't have any power under it there.
Right.
And in this photograph it does.
Right.
I've heard
Okay.
that they had the
So they took several photographs of it.
the space center, you know, the space lab they have up there, is supposed to have a lot of photos of that,
Yes.
of UFOs and a lot of anomalies. They call it anomalies. You know what it is.
Yeah.
You know.
We had a lot of UFOs that were seen during our Gemini programs and the Apollo programs.
Oh yeah.
And Apollo 8, Apollo 10, Apollo 12. On the Apollo 8 was cited disc-shaped UFOs as capsules circled the moon. We have been informed that Santa Claus does exist. And that was the secret word for UFOs.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Also picked up unidentifiable language on the space frequency radio too.
It'd be interesting.
And
to
on
hear the
Apollo
language.
12,
It would be interesting to hear the language
oh yeah,
that they picked up.
well, what it was, I have that actually, and what it was is, you know, as you're in a parade,
Right.
there's clapping and hollering and screaming
Right.
and fire engines going, sirens. Well, that's what they projected into the into the astronauts' space capsule. And Mission Control said, do you have any company up there with you? And the astronaut says, no, but we don't know where this sound is coming from. So they actually made like a parade going to the moon. And this sound came from the UFO as a parade as they were celebrating going to the moon.
That is very interesting.
There's a UFO in front of this, the Apollo, and a UFO in back of it. And they made a parade, actually, and they
like
had the
escort,
sounds.
too.
Yeah, an escort, yeah.
Yeah.
They were escorting the Apollo 12. Yep.
Well, this is
Apollo-
all fascinating.
Apollo
know.
8. So,
Well, apparently they're not trying to harm our spaceships that go up there. We haven't had
no.
any
nope,
ships shot down.
no, we haven't.
So they're not stopping us from exploring.
No, nope.
We were basically
Now,
at
we're
the
starting to get
infantile
short on
stage.
time,
Yeah.
so do
Oh,
you
are
have
we?
any favorite
toddlers.
picture you want to show?
Okay, well,
Yeah.
okay, I have two that I'd like to talk about. This one is during Gemini 11 flight during the 18th revolution, 27 hours and 47 minutes later, September 12th, 1966. It took 2 photographs of this object, and these are all NASA photographs, and they're UFO photographs. The one on the bottom is the Skylab 3 flight in 1973 and these are both changing shape as they took photographs. And then we have Gordon Cooper, our famous astronaut, which saw UFOs several times during his life.
Right.
And wanted to speak about it. So he went to the UN and told them that the message was, he said, I believe that these extraterrestrial vehicles and their crews are visiting this planet from other planets, which are a little more technically advanced than we are on Earth.
A little more?
That
Yes.
was exactly going to be my words. A
A
little,
little more?
Gordon Cooper, our astronaut,
Right.
went to
we
the
wouldn't-
UN.
We
Because
don't
he
have
couldn't
enough of a
speak.
lifespan to make the kind of traveling that they do.
That's true.
Like, it would take 100 generations of us to go, like, from here to Saturn, maybe.
Yes.
You know, but they can do it with impunity, so they must
Right.
have a way to bend time.
Yeah. Time and space is all connected.
Yes.
Yep.
You said some of the ships change shape.
Yes.
And so we were talking about it earlier about them being living beings, the ships themselves.
Yep. Yeah. Some of the ships are what seem to be living, and they even can pick out the pilot. If they like this pilot or some other pilot, they'll
Right.
pick out that person to drive the ship.
Yeah, because
They
I think that
become
the
one.
pilot runs it by thought
Right.
and
Yep.
by emotion. And so they got to kind of be copacetic, but it's interesting that the ship chooses the pilot, right? And so, yeah, and you know, I've actually had an experience with that. I'll share with you off
Oh,
screen. Yeah.
wow.
And
Oh, wow.
so I know we're
I'm
getting.
surprised you said that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You had a ship that picked you as the pilot?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
No.
I mean, did I miss something?
Hey,
we got 3 minutes.
hey,
Tell me
what-
the story.
One of my favorite roles is captain of the ship. You know, what can I
Whoa.
tell you? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so we're running out of time. But you know, I'm sure you have much more to share with us.
Yes, I do.
Yes. So I was thinking if everyone enjoyed this show so much that we would have Pat back on, Dr. UFO, for the next show, so we can do part 2.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we'll look forward to that. And we want to
Okay.
thank you so much for sharing all this knowledge because, you know, you don't oftentimes get someone who studied so much to have all this documentation all this time, you know. You've been doing it 50 years or so, right?
Right.
Oh,
Since,
50
you were,
years.
since you were a youngin'.
A young one.
A youngin',
And
right?
he's still 39.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm only 39.
I know.
Every year is experience, that's all.
So, and Marie, we want to thank you for coming on. You always have such good insight.
I love coming here.
We always
Thank
do
you.
have a good time, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
All right, so let's thank our facilities here at CTV, Spectrum Cable, and our sponsors, Antonio's Pork Store in Tauntonville, and Aardvark Pest Control in Great Kills, and our wonderful crew. All right, we couldn't do this without them. They're telling us we have 2 minutes now again.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So we have
It's
a few
amazing how
minutes.
time
have-
just stops. We had 2 minutes 2 minutes ago.
I have
and we
one
have
more
2 minutes
picture.
again.
He's got one more picture.
He's got one more
All right, show
picture,
2
but
minutes. We have 2
we have
minutes.
only
2
2
minutes, all
minutes,
right.
so
Okay. This was in Life magazine, April 1st, 1966. And this photographer went out on a hill to take a picture of Perth, Australia. Now, while he was taking the picture, he took this first picture and he's noticed this light coming down out of the sky. And then about 5 minutes later, he took a second picture and it changed shape.
Wow.
And then before he took the third picture, it shot up into outer space.
So
fascinating.
maybe he fell off the
Yeah.
hill and couldn't get the picture. Yeah, so. Okay, we have 1 minute left, so we will say
Thank you.
goodbye. They're telling us to wrap it up.
Yeah, so we want to thank our audience, we want to thank the crew and the station here, and of course you viewers, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Everybody wave goodbye now.
Bye-bye, good night, we'll see
Bye.
you next time.
Oh, you can clap more than that, please. Wasn't the food good enough? Come on.
Wasn't the show good enough? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The mic's just still on.